Hello, good afternoon, and you're watching Market Fatafat on ET now with me, Vinny Motiwala, along with me, Cheryl D'Souza as well. Cheryl, a very good afternoon to you, but not a good afternoon when you're looking at the markets, right?
Yes, absolutely, Vinny. Afternoon, I'll not say good afternoon then to you. If you look at the way how the markets are actually performing, let's not forget that today is FN expiry as well. So we are bound to see some sort of a volatility actually kick in for the markets. And as you can see, that's the way how it's transpiring on your screen. You have the benchmark indices that's trading lower by about 0.2%. Last time I checked, actually had the Nifty bank that was underperforming the benchmark indices. Remember that yesterday, towards the last 1 hour of trading session, you saw a sharp cut come in the markets, and it was led by Nifty bank. Also today as well, if you look at the way how the screens are looking like, you have Nifty bank underperforming the benchmark indices, 0.6% downtick coming in for Nifty bank. Let's talk about the broader markets because that seems to be a very bright spot. Yesterday, both mid-cap as well as the small-cap index hit the record high levels. Today as well, both of them are actually holding on to positive territory with the small-cap index leading the gains. 0.5% uptick coming in for small-cap index. We'll try and get that graph changed for you soon. Talking about the advanced decline ratio, looks like neck-to-neck advanced decline ratio as of now, a tad bit of the favor tilted towards the decliners. Talking about what the sectoral indices are doing at this point in time, you have the IT index that is seeing a good up move of about 0.5%. No doubt it's off the day's highest point, but nevertheless holding on to gains of about 0.5%. Auto index also seeing good strength of about 0.4% with Maruti Suzuki actually hitting a record high level in today's trading session. Also take a look at PSU Bank Index because that's the top sectoral loser in trade. 1% downtick for PSU Bank Index. FMCG, Pharma, Energy, all of them are declining in trade today. So that's the way how the markets are looking like. But you know, Vinny, 2 hours of trading session still left, but you can't say which side of the markets will tilt given the fact that it's FN expiry.
Absolutely, keeping an eye out on where the markets are finally going to tilt and where the end will come in at. But yes, keeping an eye out on the markets as of now. Let's get started then with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade, either on the back of news flows or on the back of technicals. On the technicals, today we are joined by Kunal Bothra, while from the research team we have Vamakshi as well as Ashesha joining in with us. A very good afternoon to all three of you all as well. And as always, I'm going to be starting with the first stock that is in focus, and that is Met Plus Health. Now, this one is in focus on the back of a change of hands, a bulk deal that has happened today, and when you look at it, this is a change of hands of around 12% equity change of hands that has happened. That is 1.3 crore shares change in hands in a bunch trade. We are keeping an eye out on that, and earlier reports had suggested that what we've seen is two funds. One is the PI Opportunity Fund as Lavender Rose Fund and Lavender Rose Fund. Both these had entered MedPlus quite early in the stage of the company's investment, and now it was suggested that they would be looking to pass stake. But is it them right now? Who are the buyers and the sellers? That is still to be ascertained. So let's keep an eye out on MedPlus Health. Today it was down and out in trade. At one point of time it was down as much as 7%. As of now, also trading with cuts with almost 6%.
Alright, that is MedPlus for you. That is in focus on back of the huge block deal that took place earlier today. But let's shift focus and let's talk about Zen Technologies. And that particular stock is in focus in today's trading session. If you look at Zen Technologies, at one point in time, it saw an uptick of as much as 3.6%. That was taking the stock to the highest level since August 24th. Still, the stock is holding on to gains of about 2% or so. The reason why the stock has seen that sharper rise and gaining for a second consecutive session is the fact that it has bagged an order worth about 72.3 crore rupees, and this is from the military of, I beg your pardon, this is from Defense Ministry, and the order is for making training simulators for armed forces. So on back of this order win worth about 72.3 crore rupees, you can see Zen Technologies holding on to good gains, approximately 2% as we speak.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that is Birlasoft. Kunal, that's the stock that you picked out for us today. In terms of when you look at charts, already seen a very good run up in the last 6 months. So do you expect a further upside now for Birlasoft?
I do expect a further upside for the stock over the near to medium term. The stock has gone to a decent recovery. So last 4 months from I think March or April lows, the stock was at 250 rupees. Right now, the stock has jumped up to 500. But then when you try and compare this with the 2021-22 high for Birlasoft, that high was around 585-600 for the stock price, which means that in this leg of uptrend, the stock can try and come back towards the previous highs of 585-600 after a bit of a pause in between. So I think it's a good stock developing over the last 5-6 months and holds scope for another 20% upside over the medium term.
Alright, that's the take coming in on Birlasoft. But Vamakshi, let's talk about the new kid on the block, and that is Aeroflex. How is the listing?
Was a bumper listing as far as Aeroflex is concerned. The stock, in fact, surged nearly 83% above the IPO price in its debut. Now it listed at nearly 190 rupees per share as compared to 108 rupees per share that was its IPO price. Now keep in mind that this company is a maker of stainless steel flexible hoses. In fact, in its IPO, the company raised 162 odd crores by selling new shares in the IPO, while its founder, that is SAT Industries, sold shares worth almost 189 odd crores. So therefore, the total issue size for this particular IPO was around 351 odd crores, and in fact, it had received a tremendous response from investors as well. The IPO was in fact subscribed nearly 97 times. So all in all, on the back of its bumper listing, we do have Aeroflex Industries in focus today. It was a bumper listing, and the stock will be on our radar on the back of that.
Okay, bumper listing for Aeroflex. But let's move on, talk about Electra Green Tech. And Kunal, this one has seen a bumper move, you could say, in the last 6 months. Just look at it, 140% almost returns in the last 6 months. Is it still a buy call, or would you just say now one should start booking out their profits?
Well, you're absolutely right, Vinny. The stock has done exceptionally well. From, I think, the start of this year, the stock was around the 500 mark to a point when the stock had hit 1400 levels just about a month and a half back for Electra Green Tech. The stock from 1400 levels had actually corrected back towards 1000 mark, which means a sharp 30% correction had almost had been in play for the stock price. It's now getting into a recovery. It's coming back about the 50-day moving average, which means on the short-term charts, there could be another short-term spurt or a rally into the stock price. So forming a bullish flag pattern, 50-day moving average is a good support or a stop loss for this trade, and would look out for the stock moving up higher from 1230, where it's trading right now, to almost 1300, 1320 mark over the very near term.
Okay, in the near term, 1320 is what we could watch out for Electra Green. That's the word coming in from Kunal. Let's move on, talk about Hindalco. This one is in focus on the back of a note that we've seen coming in from Rofa, where they've resumed coverage on Hindalco with a buy rating and a target price of 600 rupees per share. Now they're resuming this, coverage here. They're expecting that upside that we could expect, the 600 target price. That's almost a 30% upside that we're expecting from the current price as well. And why are they positive on this one? Is one, improving profitability and sales volume trajectory of Novelis, which is the 100% subsidiary of Hindalco. They're focusing on the decommoditization of Indian aluminium business, reduction of the energy cost in upstream aluminium on a ramp up of captive coal mines, as well as reduction in e-auction premiums is something that is keeping them positive on the stock. Now, other than that, some of the factors they're highlighting in terms of risk could be the subdued global demand that we could see, the beverage can demand that could maybe impact Hindalco. That's a worry, as well as the weak LME aluminium prices. That is something that one should watch out for as well. But nonetheless, as of now, they're reinitiating coverage with a buy rating, target price of 600 rupees per share, and that is why we've seen the stock was gaining in trade. It was up for more than 1%. As of now, holding on to gains of 0.7%.
All right, so that is Hindalco for you. That's in focus by Ashesha. Let's talk about Prudent, and this one also saw a sizable block deal take place today.
Well, yes, block deal candidate, and the stock is reacting negatively. It has recovered slightly from the lowest point of the day, but despite that, sitting on with cuts of nearly 9%. So about 8.5% equity changed hands via block deals that took place today morning, which translates to about 3.5 million equity shares. Today the stock is declining, but if we look at the year-to-date chart, the stock is up nearly 29% in the last 6 months and has gained nearly 81% in the last 1 year. Remember the last time when we spoke to the management said that they expect to grow at about 25% CAGR as far as their commissions are concerned in the next 2 to 3 years, and they expect to achieve an AUM of about 11,000 crores. Today, of course, on the back of this block deal that took place, the stock is in focus, nearly 8% lower in trade as we speak.
Okay, let's move on and talk about a banking name. And Kunal, you've picked up IndusInd Bank for us on the charts. And IndusInd Bank, would that be one of the top picks now in the banking space?
Well, it was one of the better performing stocks from the banking stocks, but today the stock has broken below the 50-day moving average. Now, if assuming the stock closes at current levels of 1370 or below this level, then it could confirm this breakdown on the 50-day moving average, which means that possibly the near-term trends could be a bit more sluggish for IndusInd Bank. So it's a stock which has done pretty well for itself over the last 5-6 months. I think from 950, 970 the move started for IndusInd Bank, moving up towards 1400, 1440 mark. But somehow after this breakdown of sorts, I would expect some bit of sluggishness. So not extremely bearish on the stock price, but then I think traders who've been holding on to long positions I think it could be a good time for them to start booking out partial profits at least if the stock closes below this 50-day moving average.
Okay, but let's also listen in to what Sameer Arora, the founder and fund manager at Helios Capital, had to say about the financials and the banking space. Listen in.
Broadly, in a big picture sense, if you look at our history, it'll be 50 to 60% large cap. Because, you know, we like the big fellows, which is the banks. The urban is doing well. And mostly these loans are going to urban guys or to the salaried guys or to the guys who are earning more. And also, we are not saying, and nobody is saying that this is forever, that the rural is gone forever. Then, you know, then elections would be decided on these things. So we are talking right now in a big picture sense that if you look at the fact that the banking sector is strong and doing well and hasn't done anything for at least now calendar year and maybe even some part of last year, and it's a big part of the market, and you are getting foreign flows, and you can buy things like HDFC Bank at 3-year-old prices. It is the easiest thing for the world to do. And in whatever way you say it, if somebody is overweight or underweight, they will buy maybe 25% financials. Many people do well over 1 to 3 year period, but then they are not able to sustain. So somebody else starts doing well or a new sector. So that we all believe, and you also believe, I think, that private sector banks have created a lot of wealth. No. Only 2 stocks, HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank. There was Global Trust Bank and Times Bank and Bank of Punjab and Centurion Bank and RBL Bank and Yes Bank and God knows all private sector banks. And they've done very badly, you know. Bandhan also has not done super well. But looking at the older guys. So the point is that the long term is very difficult to see. And you have very low ability to see the long term separately anyway.
All right, let's shift focus and put the spotlight on Sun TV then, because that particular counter has hit a over 4-year high in today's trading session. Here, Nuvama has actually come out with a note on Sun TV. They're saying the stock is up approximately 40% in the last 2 months, and they're saying that the reason why the stock has actually seen that sort of a re-rating is just because it's spurred by the jump in the Q1 revenue EBITDA, as also they're saying the recent box office records by Sun Pictures, which produced the Rajinikanth star movie, that is Jailer. So they're expecting the revenue EBITDA due to IPL as well as because of the movie will show up in Q2 earnings of the particular counter. They're also saying that Sun, like the other TV broadcasters, likely to see steady pickup in their ad revenue as well as subscriptions. What also Nuvama is saying that any value unlock in its IPL team could be an additional trigger for the stock to re-rate going ahead. Remember that Nuvama has also come out, has a buy rating on the counter. They also have a target price of around 750 rupees per share on Sun TV. However, they're also noting that Sun TV's foray in North needs to be more focused, and also they are saying that the company needs to revamp or ramp up their OTT presence as well. So these are the comments coming in from Nuvama on Sun TV, maintaining a buy stance, target at 750, and the stock has hit a 4-year high.
Let's move on to stock number 10 for today. And Kunal, you're going to highlight Hind Copper for us. What are the charts now indicating for Hind Copper? Where should we be expecting in terms of targets?
So extremely strong charts. So even though today the stock has retraced from today's intraday high of 163 to 156 because of its inherent high beta nature, but the way the stock has made a new high, swing high on the charts, crossing the previous 2-week back high for the stock around 160 mark, I think is quite exceptional. The longer term chart patterns for Hindustan Copper is on the bullish side. The stock has formed a rounding bottom pattern on the long term charts, which is very, very attractive for the stock over the medium to long term. So the only catch with the stock is that it's a high beta stock. So whenever the stock gets into any kind of a breakout or even mild reversal, the reversal could be sharp for the stock in terms of the percentage losses. But I think for traders who have a high risk appetite could look to buy the stock on sharp corrections, and I would probably expect the stock to head towards at least 165 over the near term. That's the target which I highlighted a couple of days back for Hindustan Copper, as well as from a long term play, would look out for 180 to 190 as a near term target.
All right, so that's the take coming in on Hind Copper. But Shesha, let's talk about BSC and why is this particular counter in focus?
Focus for the second consecutive session. Yesterday, in fact, the stock was up nearly 6.5%. Today, again, it is up 8.5%. Yesterday, of course, HDFC Securities came out with a note where they upgraded the stock to a buy rating with a target price of 12.30. They say that they expect BSE's derivative market segment market share to reach about 10% by the fourth quarter of FY24. This will be driven by onboarding of new large member brokers, launch of new weekly index contracts, and continued increase in active traders. The report also said that the increase in derivatives volume will boost cash volumes for the company going forward, and they expect revenue CAGR of about 19% over the period FY23 to 26 and EPS CAGR of about 25% over the corresponding period. So on the back of this upgrade that came in from HDFC Securities, the stock continues to be in focus for the second consecutive session. It has gained over 15% in the last 2 days alone.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that is Dreamfolks. This one is in focus today, trading with gains of almost more than 1% as well. And why is that so? Because the company last evening has announced that they have entered into a strategic partnership with one of the leading visa service providers, and this is mainly to be offering premium lounges at the visa centers as well as doorstep visa service as well. Now, this partnership marks a significant milestone for Dreamfolks as clients, and have been eager, as those companies' clients are really eagerly waiting for the inclusion of visa services as a part of their offering to the customers as well. Now, with this addition, the visa services into the existing offering through one of the leading service provider, Dreamfolks is aiming to elevate the services provided, the customer experience, and provide a seamless access to the visa solutions as well. So yes, on the back of that, we've seen that Dreamfolks is trading with gains of almost 1.5% as of now.
All right, moving on, let's talk about Greaves Cotton then, and this particular counter is seeing good up move, about 2.9% as we speak. The company informed the exchanges that their unit is expanding its a range of electric two-wheeler brands with the inclusion of Enigma automobiles. They're saying that the unit will be providing sales service as well as spare support to Enigma automobiles collaboration to expedite Enigma automobiles e-two-wheeler sales as well as distribution. On the fact of this particular expansion in the two-wheeler, electric two-wheeler market, you have Greaves Cotton that's buzzing in trade, now 3% uptick as we speak.
Let's move on to the next one. And Kunal, on the charts, I believe you picked out Indiabulls Housing for us. Indiabulls Housing has seen, a very strong up move in the last 6 months, and from just 100 levels doubled to 200. What is the upside that one should be expecting from Indiabulls Housing? Is there more upside, or one should start booking profits?
I think it could be a good time actually to start booking out short-term profits on Indiabulls Housing, because what's happened on the short-term charts is the stock making a new high on the price front, but the indicators are a bit tepid, or has not crossed about the previous highs. So the last time the stock was in around the 165 mark, which was in the first week of August, the stock has crossed that by a margin of 40-45 rupees today, so crossed the 200-205 mark. But the RSI has been a bit lower as compared to the previous highs when the stock was at 165 odd levels. So that indicates that this could be a sign of a divergence coming into the stock price, and that could probably be a good indication to try and book out at least partial profits on the stock for someone who's been holding on to it from much lower levels.
All right, moving on then, Mamakshi, let's talk about Manappuram Finance and what is fueling the rally in the stock.
Cheryl, the stock is in focus on the back of a brokerage note that came in from ICICI Securities, and largely what they have highlighted is the fact that the company is seeing some strong growth prospects on the back of the increase in the organized market share. In fact, Manappuram has also gone ahead and guided for nearly 10 to 12% gold AUM growth with nearly 21 to 22% yields. Apart from that, their MFI segment, the guidance is for more than 30% growth as far as FY24 is concerned. Now, some of the positive factors that are playing in favor of Manappuram include yield stabilization in gold loans as well as a turnaround in the MFI business. And all of these are actually noteworthy developments for a player like Manappuram. However, on the flip side, the cost of funds are rising for this counter in both the businesses, and overall there is elevated level of competition, especially in gold loans. So these are just some of the headwinds that the company is facing. But nevertheless, when we look at the company's valuation, as far as FY25 forward price to book is concerned, it is at nearly 1 time. So definitely the valuations in ICICI Securities' opinion is looking quite attractive, which is why they've maintained their buy rating, but also hiked their target price from 147 earlier to 172 rupees per share. So largely a big thumbs up coming in from ICICI Securities, and that is the reason why we're seeing a strong uptick as far as Manappuram is concerned.
Absolutely, that is Manappuram, and ICICI Securities has surely hiked the target price. But Kunal, what's your target price for Manappuram Finance? What is the upside that you are expecting here? 50% return in the last 6 months. Now, how much more upside?
Well, I'm extremely bullish on the stock, and my sense for Manappuram Finance is that the stock is on the path of a very strong recovery. So, even though the stock has gained 50% from the recent highs or recent lows, my belief is that the stock should gain at least another 50% over maybe the next 1.5 odd year. Would expect the stock to retest levels of 200, 220. So I'm extremely bullish on the stock, and every marginal dip like what we saw I think last week or so for Manappuram Finance, when the stock corrected from 155 to 140 approximately, I think that should be taken as a good opportunity to add or average.
All right, moving on then, Ashesha, let's talk about Nazara Tech, because this particular stock is on fire. What's the reason behind it?
Well, yes, it is on the back of company's fundraising and expansion plans. So the board of directors yesterday informed the exchanges that the board of directors will be meeting on the 4th of September to consider fundraising. So on the back of this news that has come in, the stock is in focus today. It is slightly off. In fact, it is at the day's highest point of the day as we speak. This is a 6-month chart for you. But for the day, it is off the highest point of the day, 4% higher in trade as we speak. And in the last 6 months, the stock has risen nearly 48%. Today, of course, on the back of these fundraising plans that have come through, the stock is gaining in trade.
Okay, that is Nazara Tech for y'all. But LTI Mindtree, that's too in focus, and today it's trading with gains of 1%. But my colleague Anisha actually had a very special interaction with the MD and CEO of the company, Mr. Chatterjee, and he says the company's target is to achieve the $10 billion run rate before 2030. So let's listen into what more he had to say.
Well, we have said the 17 to 18% exit rate. That's what we are aspiring for by end of this by Q4. And we have a plan. We have a very specific program within the organization to improve the margin, and that's why we have made a commitment that 200 basis points over the next 4 to 5 years. We are pretty much on track.
There was also this aspiration of $10 billion, right? Right now, what you're sub $5 billion. When do you see that happening? 2030?
Well, I think it will be before that, but the aspiration holds still. The aspiration is very much there. And again, it's the aspiration of the group, our group chairman and Mr. A.M. Naik, our group CEO, Mr. S.N. Subramaniam. I think they have very clearly articulated this plan. And
they've given you this target that DC you have to achieve this target,
yeah,
right?
I think, it is not me, it's me and my team who have to get it done. And I think it's achievable. And if you look at the overall aspiration they have been very supportive in terms of what we have done so far and what we want to do. And I think this 10 billion mark has to be a combination of organic as well as inorganic. And I'm very confident that given the credibility that we have in the marketplace and the credentials that we have, I'm sure we can do it over a period of time.
All right, let's now shift focus to a very crucial topic that's actually often overlooked, Vinny, financial planning for women in India. Remember, as the nation is striding towards progress, it's imperative that the women are also equipped with the right tools to secure their financial future. And to understand how strategic financial planning actually can unlock a world of opportunities for women, we have experts from the industry speak at the SBI Mutual Fund presents Invest Smart Mutual Fund ke saath. Let's listen in to the excerpt of the conversations.
Train a lot of women. You have women investors. What are the common apprehensions that you see them facing when it comes to money-related topic, when it comes to their financial freedom?
So typically what I find is that, women tend to shy away from the investment decision themselves, even if they're women in finance and even if they're bankers, because traditionally we've been used to letting, the men in the family, whether it is your father or later on your husband or your son, manage money. And this is not only for India, okay? This is basically a feeling or the way that women are raised that certain things, you know, you learn and certain things you learn, even if the women are good in maths.
Can we decide specific investment instruments based on gender? No.
No. So, it's not just based on gender. I'm a great follower of behavioral finance, and it, you know, part of it is gender, part of it could be some other life stages, part of it just the way you are and what you prefer. So we have seen that you know, women investors could be more loss averse, and we said that you know, and they may not be able to differentiate between the short-term volatility and the loss probably that an asset can give. So they may be volatility averse also. So with that regard, we always kind of educate them or tell them that, see, I mean, based on your goals, think about your goals. The goals for every person are the same. It's not gender specific. Most of us have short-term, long-term retirement goals. So think about them and look at each investment according to the goals that you want to fulfill, and try to distinguish between the short-term volatility and the capital loss that probably you know, you think you are attaching to that volatility.
And to watch the entire episode for more insights, tune in at 4:30 p.m. today or Sunday, 3rd September at 7 p.m. But on that note, viewers, we're going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more stocks after this break.